The Keep is so absurdly cool. I find it hard to believe that this one was somewhat maligned over the years. I mean, yeah, at the time it was seen as this kind of like silly, comic booky, junky film for adolescents by kind of snobbier film critics. The craft here is immensely beautiful, though. Tangerine's Dream's score, superlative. I'm just kind of surprised that I feel like if this was a film from the 1970s, it'd be, oh, look at this unsung, magnificent classic. But yeah, there's a certain snobbery and kind of snootiness to this day surrounding 1980s productions. I didn't grow up in it. I was born after the 1980s. I don't have any particular nostalgic fondness for living in it, so I just see it as another decade of some interesting films and some not so interesting films. I don't know. I don't see maybe those who lived with it found a certain kind of quite nauseating after a while, but in retrospect, I find it quite interesting. Certainly, productions such as this, helmed by visionaries such as the soon-to-be very, very acclaimed Michael Mann. I remember, I don't know what it is. It's like, oh, it's just the filmmaking majesty of The Keep is so powerful. Maybe one wants to take issue with invoking a religious deity is violent. The kind of there's some cynicism. I've heard this raised in regard to Raiders of the Lost Ark. It's like so some of, and it's an interesting idea that the portrayal of a kind of Judeo-Christian deity is kind of potentially wrathful is a kind of a concept which some find disturbing and not worth promoting or outdated, perhaps. One gets the impression that those who might admire Michael Mann's most acclaimed films have a certain chuckling attitude toward The Keep. I think this is unfair. I know it's something you might read in Heavy Metal magazine, but the execution is some of the finest in 1980s genre films, in my opinion anyway.